That was a good one.
I would consider it harassment if it was sex with Bec Charlwood.
Okay, welcome to Oink Time. I'm Jen Carnovale.
I'm Ben Ellwood.
And this week we chat with Bec Charlwood about everything sexy.
The great comedian Bec Charlwood. We cover the difference between
Sexy
hotness and sexiness and beauty and prettiness and
Sexy
all
tease.
kinds of role-playing weird shit.
It's all in there. If you like the podcast, please rate it and give it 5 stars. And thank you to our wonderful sponsors, Young Henrys. If you want to contact Benjamin or me, you can tweet at us at OinkTimePod.
Tweet Jen, I don't have the internet.
Oh, me and Sean will read it.
And now,
Sexy.
with Bec Charlwood.
Sexy. Yeah, wash those hands. That's disgusting. Welcome to Oink Time. Yep.
Our guest, Bec Charlwood, just walked into the studio and commenced the proceedings by bursting a zit on my face.
It's so gross.
With her fingernails.
What are you talking about?
I don't want to start the pod talking about popping other people's zits, but I can't fucking do it. I just want to say that much.
What do you mean? Pop other people's
can't
zits?
do
No,
it.
I can't do it either. I
love it.
I've had a bunch of friends that love doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, squeezing two crossgets together and and the margarine comes out in spiralized kind of.
If I know.
What?
That's a
what it
bad
is.
example of it. I think it's just a really, I think it's as well, I'm a very, cleanly person.
So you just like getting your fingers
like
coated in
being
other people's
yes,
parts.
the dirt is out now.
If it's
You're
a
clean
partner-
now. You're worthy.
I'm not a hideous monster. Can you help me and Jen settle a dispute we were having on the way here?
Can you scalp? What?
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
It's
go.
been a long
Sorry,
day and I'm
sorry.
pretty drunk. All right. There's different genres of attractiveness, right?
Yes.
Like hot, pretty, beautiful, and sexy are 4 different genres,
Yes.
right?
I feel
Yeah,
like
100%.
sexy usually entails a few of those other ones.
I don't think so at all.
No, not at all.
I do.
Not at all.
So you think
And I'm a
sexy
very
is not
horny
the same
person.
as hot?
No, sexy and hot are 2 different things.
Oh
Because sexy is not necessarily aesthetic. Sexiness is like a kind of like a very kind
We
of.
know what you find sexy.
What do I find sexy?
What do you find
One
sexy
eye with a
then?
weird voice.
I find
Damn, well, I'm out.
I find cute flaws very sexy.
Oh,
I think
what kind
any-
of... What kind of cute flaws?
Oh, like just like
Never on time.
No, that pisses
Distant
me
from
off. I
their
hate that
father.
shit. Yeah, that's the norm, isn't it? No, just like I don't know, like I can't even say specifically. I
Pimples, would you say?
yeah, why not? Like, but just things that like
Acne.
humanity, like some kind of humanity, like some kind of like
But I think
a little
once
gap
you-
between the teeth, or
okay.
they're not even flaws, but just that thing that like the thing that you rarely see on the fucking billboard
Yeah.
or the Vogue magazine
I think
cover.
once
or
you
whatever.
like someone, though, you like all that shit anyway. It just becomes kind of cute instead of gross. And then if you break up, all of a sudden you're like, ugh, I can't believe I like
Yeah,
that.
or the amount of features that I've blindsided on people that I've
exactly.
dated and then woken up and been like, oh no.
Yeah, where you're like, oh, this is this quirky little
Yeah.
cute thing they do.
I
And
dated
then
a guy with entirely brown teeth for 3 months.
Whoa!
shut up.
Yeah, and then we broke up and I was like, oh no. I was like,
you
look at
really?
his little brown teeth that fallen out of his head. I was obsessed.
You were in love with this guy with the brown teeth?
Obsessed.
Wait. But so, like,
Why
when
did
something-
he have brown teeth? Do we know? We don't
He
know.
smoked a
Smoking.
lot. Yum, yum.
Yucko.
What a winner.
Yeah.
Wait, was this an older man?
Of course it is.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah,
I don't
okay.
date anything different.
Because you got to be smoking a lot if you're a young man with brown smoker's teeth.
Yeah.
So wait, so
That's
when
a
you,
commitment.
so when either of you guys see like a flaw in a potential mate, is it like a willful blindsiding where you're like, hey, I can see, my eyes can see that your teeth are brown?
No, it's cute. It becomes cute.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Immediately it becomes cute. But I mean, you're acting like it's foreign. It's the same thing with what you said, only it's just because Beck's referring to brown teeth
Yeah.
that you're not.
But that's but
like-
that's an incongruity that I couldn't surmount. I couldn't do that.
Oh, I've
and
definitely-
call me judgmental, but I couldn't get into brown teeth.
Okay, well, you never know who you're going to be.
No, I don't know. I was watching it like
So
Give
when
it
you
a
bring
minute.
a broad to a gig who's got little crusty nubs falling out of her mouth, I'll be saying, I told you so.
it's one of those. I don't know. It's one of those things. Teeth is like this thing I got a fucking thing about. You know what I mean? Like, I love David Lynch. He's like one of my favorite guys, but he's got like real bad brown teeth from smoking and drinking coffee all day. And I watched a documentary with him the other day, and not one part of my brain could fully relax while I was watching him, because it was just like, oh, he's so great, but man, you're a millionaire. Can't you get your teeth whitened? Why are your teeth so brown?
Makes him an artist, man.
He doesn't give a shit about his fucking brown teeth.
He's too busy.
Yeah,
Get his teeth whitened?
No, I don't know. Look, some things you can look over, some things you can't. I mean, bad body odor I can't handle. I need good smells.
Yeah, but sometimes a bit of stank isn't so
of
bad,
musk
you
in
know?
there.
A bit of
Yeah, but
musk.
that's like post booty.
No. My friend, my dear dead friend, Dan Brown,
Yes.
used to R.I.P.
Thank you for the Da Vinci Code.
He stunk like a goat that had been left out in the rain. Like, he was a stinky motherfucker.
Did he have brown teeth, and is he single? Oh wait, no,
he's dead.
He's dead.
Long dead. He would refuse to shower before he went on dates, because he had like some belief that, you know, no, you don't shower before you go on a date, because your musky odor denotes confidence and also like an animalistic kind of pheromonal quality.
I do think there's some where you're like with someone where you're like, they smell so good. And then someone else could be like, ew. I 100% get that. Where like somebody cuddles up to them and like, oh, their jacket smells like them. And I'm like, mothballs. Like, it's gross. So I think it just depends on pheromones with that stuff. But
It's all about perspective as well, because so many smells. I mean, so many memories are embedded in smells.
Totally.
Totally,
It's like some
man.
ridiculous percentage. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like your attraction is like 60% based on.
Yeah.
And it's
Like,
all
that's not fair. Come
No,
on,
no,
body,
yeah,
give me
yeah.
a chance.
I
You
know.
realize in that way that you are more animal than human in a lot of ways, where it's like, fuck, I don't even have a lot of
completely. So, you know, the
Control.
pill, obviously.
the pill.
The
Yes,
pill.
yeah.
Is there another the pill? They
MDMA for me. I take it every day, 7 a.m.
stops me from
Prescription
having
grade.
a child. There's all these studies where women would stop them just before they would try to have a child with their partner, and they'd stop them, and because it had such a huge effect on their hormones and stuff, they were no longer sexually attracted to their partner. Like, their sex drive would drop immediately.
What, they weren't into the stink anymore?
Yeah,
Yeah, my smells changed when I went off the pill.
totally.
What,
Me too.
noticeably to your own nose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Really?
the guy I was dating at the time was like, whenever I go to the gym, he'd be like, I love your musk.
Yeah, I
And then as
relate
soon as
to
I went
that.
off the pill, it just all of a sudden be like, go have a shower.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, oh no.
Yeah, no, that's fucking crazy, right?
Or maybe because I was super fertile and he's like, yuck. I hate a fertile woman.
Yeah, good. Good musk is great. Like, it's fucking. I like it.
I don't
Why
like
do I
the
feel so
word
guilty?
musk. It sounds gross,
Yeah,
but
musk is not a nice word for it.
I know what you're trying to say.
But don't you think that like, back to that initial question? Don't you think that like
teeth?
that is what sex like? That's what I mean when I say sexy is kind of like it's a bit more hard to pin down, because I think sexiness is
Yeah,
that.
there's definitely a distinctive difference between like cute and sexy.
Like, surely you've seen someone where you were like, you know, if you just saw them, a picture of them, they're not aesthetically the most attractive person in the world, but something about their energy is like, whoa, you're fucking
yeah, chemistry
sex.
or whatever.
Not even necessarily a chemistry that you're having with them. Like, I once saw a performer who was like, you know, like just a moderately, you know, not hugely attractive, not hugely unattractive person.
Yeah.
Plain person. And their performance was so electrifying that they became, or someone like Nick Cave.
Are you talking about every male comedian ever who's just a solid 5 out of 10? And then they get on stage and all of a sudden women are like, oh my God.
Yes, we were talking about this. All of a sudden they're like,
He's
look,
so hot.
they make people laugh. I want to fuck it. That is 100% what happens every
Totally,
fucking
man.
time.
Like,
Every time.
Nick Cave is not, I don't think, is not the most attractive man in the world.
Debatable.
Well, but would he, you know, if you just walk past that guy in the
Oh,
street.
yeah. And if he wasn't Nick Cave,
Exactly,
you'd be
but
like,
he's-
get away from my body.
But I
he's
think
so
it also
sexy
has to
'cause
do
he's
with the
Nick Cave.
context, because that's the whole thing of like the male comics. Like, on stage, they kick ass, they do really well, they look like they're self-depreciating. All the women are like, oh my God, I want to fuck you.
Yeah,
And
I want to
then-
make you believe in yourself.
Yeah, let
I'm
me,
gonna
my
fix
pussy.
you.
let me rebuild the confidence you never had. Let me be your mum. No, but then all of a sudden you like go to just a regular function where there's normal normal people there and maybe only 2 comedians, and you see them and their sex appeal can drop pretty fucking quick.
Yeah, it's like
When
some
you're like,
homunculus.
wow, they don't know how to eat anything in public.
It's all right about the mum thing as well. I think that so many comedians
Mama.
get rooted because people are like, let me take care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think just a shit ton of young comedy dudes want a mum, straight up.
I think a
Fix
shit ton
me.
of dudes want a mum.
Oh yeah, just in
Just
general.
in general. I know
Call
a
my
lot
mum. She's not busy. She loves kids.
of... I'll take care of you, sweetheart.
Yeah, I'll bake you a scone and then ask you, what are you doing with your life?
I've only had one relationship where I felt like all of a sudden they were trying to turn me into that, and it was the quickest turn off I've ever had, where I was like, oh wow, this is not what I wanted.
I had a brief relationship where the woman said, I feel very maternal towards you.
Yeah, that is so
Yeah,
disgusting.
it wasn't pleasant, hey.
And then she was like, now let's have sex.
No, it was like post-coitus.
No.
And we're like in bed and she's kind of like, I don't know what it is. I just feel very maternal towards you.
Do you
and
know
my
what's really
dick
distressing?
fell off.
You
Someone
do
had to
that-
draw a chalk outline around it like a fucking corpse.
The voice you did for her, you also do for your mother. So that was really upsetting.
But it's like, I mean, why would you even think
That
to
was a
say that?
bummer.
What is it like? What? How was I to respond to that?
I
Oh,
don't-
sick, yeah.
Maybe it was an awkward lead up to her saying that her kink was being called mummy.
Mummy.
And you just didn't get to let the point out. You're like, no.
Yeah, and then it progresses to you wearing nappies.
Do you reckon that that's as because like the daddy thing is quite prominent in porn, or maybe it was, maybe it's had its day. Who
Porn.
knows? But have either of you ever been with a dude that was like, oh, mommy?
No.
No.
But it's not my thing.
I
Like,
slept with a guy who asked me to call him the boy next door.
shut up, really?
He had this weird like fantasy that he was like,
The boy next door.
I've never said this story
So good.
out loud except for over Riesling with the one girlfriend. We were seeing each other for a while and he was always a bit odd. And then one day he was like, oh, I've got a fantasy. Just like, I'm going to roll up to your house and just go with it. And I was like, okay, why not? And
Yeah,
he
fuck yeah.
came to the door with like an empty measuring cup. And straight I was like, I'm going to have to piss in that cup. That's what's going to happen. And I wish that's what he was going to ask for. But instead he's like, I just moved in next door and I just need a cup of sugar. And I was like,
Oh my god.
oh, well, I've got a cup of sugar if you want to come in. And then we got into it and he's like, call me the boy next door. And I was like, no.
Call me the boy next door. It would
ne-
have been funny if you're like, all right, Jacob, you sexy 5 foot. And just like start describing some hot kid from when you were young. You Filipino dream.
I've never, like, power to you if you can do it, but I've never understood. Like, I couldn't go to a fucking improv class, let alone
Oh, yeah, role
do
play.
a role play. You know, like,
it's
I've been a
never-
very bad boy.
It's never been successful for me.
You know what I mean? How do you not lock
You just
eyes
haven't
halfway
got
through
bored
it?
yet. You haven't been fucking enough.
I got to say, I was saying this to a friend the other day. I'm so grateful that smooching
You
is.
always chew straight
I
into
know.
the microphone.
I was like, do you want to? Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to keep it fucking.
No, it's not time.
What?
I'm
My
sorry.
podcast and fucking behave
That is
however I
my
want.
gross. I hate that sound too.
I had an ex.
Stop
I had an
it.
ex. I had an ex that used to fucking constantly bitch about me about my fucking. The
Ben will
sounds
do
I
this
make
every
when
now
I
and
eat.
he'll go. Bums me out.
Now I'm going to be aware of it, Jen. I'm going
Sorry,
to know
I'm
about
Oh, as
it.
though you have no personality traits that are fucking oppressively
We're talking
irritating.
about sounds because you're eating into the mic, which I didn't bring up, by the way. Beck did.
What was I talking about before my sound
attack
mouth
me, do
sounds?
it. That's why I came on this
Well, I
podcast.
won't attack you. I can only attack
Role
you.
playing.
Role playing.
How you couldn't do it because of improv class. It's never comfortable. I've tried a few times. It's always a bit weird. You got to be really drunk.
I just couldn't. I couldn't fucking do it. You know what I mean? Oh, that's right. I still thank God every day that at this age, smooching is still utterly delightful.
As it should be, unless
Yeah.
you're a
Do you know what I
fucking
mean?
I don't think it
psychopath.
would.
Well, no,
never
because
gets
there's some
old.
people that it's like I can't fucking come unless there's a coat hanging down the eye of my cock, and you know, like.
Yeah, I guess. I know way too many women who've said to me, and guys actually, that their partner's just not into kissing. Or that they're
What?
not
That's
into
so
kissing their partner.
sad.
That's the first thought, right?
Yeah.
That is really sad.
Do they have brown teeth? Because that could be why.
I could kind of put a damper on it.
Yeah, that'd be a fucking bummer, right?
I don't know if I could do brown teeth either, but I've definitely dated people with some interesting flaws that I think are hot. I mean, fuck, any little weird thing. If you like someone, all of a sudden it's just like, oh, that's really cute.
yeah, everything they do is just like, oh,
Even when other
beautiful.
people, and everyone else is like, oh, it's fucking weird. And you're like, no, it's cute. You just don't get it. It's really cute.
yeah.
It's actually really
doing
cute.
5-minute monologues about how great they are, and your friend's like, shut the fuck up.
You're like, actually, it's a sign of psychopathy. You're like, no, it's really cute.
Did you say you have done role play before?
Yeah, when I was really drunk ages ago. Not now, like not with Chris, but when I was younger.
What
But
was
it
the
did never
scenario?
lasted long.
What
It was
was
like
the
2
scenario?
minutes. Oh, I don't even remember. I couldn't tell you. Like I honestly
Get
couldn't tell you.
fucked,
No,
you
I
couldn't
honestly
tell me.
couldn't tell you. I honestly couldn't.
Have you ever done it?
I've done a lot of things.
Yeah.
In my 25 years on this planet. That's the only specific role play that I can remember. I'm sure at some point I've done something else. I did own a cheerleading costume. Oh, yes. No, I have. Okay, that's why I bought that. No, now I remember. Oh, no.
Let's go.
Oh,
It's always weird though. It's always like it starts as something and it never ends like that. Like I had a partner. I'm not going to go into detail, but like I wear
That's
fun
what Ben
stuff.
wants. That's why he's like, tell me.
No,
No,
I'm
I
not
wouldn't do
interested
that.
in the sexual stuff. I'm interested in the mortification,
Yeah, it
just
is.
the horror
But
of
the
these
thing
situations.
is, it doesn't end up being mortifying because I think I don't know about everyone else, but you just lose the, like I would wear like lots of fun shit. And so sometimes I'd wear really long flowy skirts
Yeah.
and it would just be a comment like, that looks like whatever. And then it would be like 2
It
sentences.
looks like
and
an
then,
orchid, and I'm an orchid thief, and
No,
I'm here
not-
to
no, I'm not a-
pluck you from the Amazon.
No, I'm not wankers. That is how you would straight up do it. That's why you've never done it because women are like, Ben, do you want to role play? And you're like, I'm a gardener. Here's my spade.
I think as well, Ben, because you're such deeply a comedian, you would so struggle to be a serious actor
Oh,
at
I
any
couldn't,
point.
couldn't do it, man. One time, an ex, like, you know, "Ooh, I'm gonna be domineering, and I'm getting the ruler, and you've been naughty, and all that. And I just I was like hysterically laughing. I couldn't stop. It's just like so absurd. Because it's that
It's too
thing of
weird.
like, I can't do that. You know that, what do they call it when you're watching a movie? Separation from reality. What's that thing called?
I don't know.
Watching a
Cognitive
movie?
No, you know when like
Yeah.
suspension of disbelief. Like where you forget
Right.
that you're a person watching a movie and you just get really invested in the
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
And it's like that with that role play stuff. It's like I could never get past the thing of like, I know you.
Yeah.
You're not a
You're
fucking-
not a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're sitting outside the room watching the situation.
Yeah,
happen and
exactly.
Be like, this is ridiculous.
It's just
I'm not a
silly.
naughty schoolboy.
Yeah, I'm
is
me. You're you. What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, no judgment. People do what they got to do. You know?
I
they
fucking
gotta
no
do.
judgment, but
But there is a difference between cute and sexy.
I think there's a huge difference between all of them. Hot, cute, sexy.
I think, and as
pretty.
well, there's so many more facets of it as well. Because it's like, you can totally, like, especially like straight men acknowledging that like another man is like beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, you know Jamie Kirk. I love Jamie Kirk because he always talks about that. He's always like, "That's a beautiful man,"
Yeah.
and I love it.
That's come such a
You
such
say
a,
it a bit too, Ben.
Oh yeah, you can acknowledge when a man
There's
is
men that
sexy
you
or
love.
beautiful or absolutely. Yeah,
You think
yeah.
are sexy.
Fuck yeah.
I know.
Absolutely. But it's a weird thing because it's not it's weird because it's not like when I watch Nick Cave dancing. Like I
You
saw
like
him,
Nick Cave,
I love
don't you?
Nick
You got a
Cave
bit
so
of a
much.
bone
Well, he's one
for
of
Nick
one
Cave.
of the top 5, of course. Everyone
this
should
is the Nick Cave hour.
I know, right?
With Ben, Bec and Jen.
seriously, everyone, even if you're not a Nick Cave fan, you should sign up to his weekly email. It's one of the most beautiful things that will arrive in your inbox. It's so wonderful.
Really?
It's called the Red Hand Files, and people just randomly send in questions. And it's never like, you know, what's your inspiration? It's always like, how do you deal with the fear of death? Or, you know, how do you deal with the weight of, you know, the horror of existing or whatever it
Yeah.
is. And he just always writes the most beautiful responses that are just so empowering and lovely. So even if you're not a fan, you should watch him. But anyway, when I saw him last time, he was like dancing around in his weird voodoo way. And he looks like, separated from the context, he would look so ridiculous. Like he's so long and like flappy. But he was so sexy. But it's weird like knowing that someone's sexy but not wanting to fuck them.
And yeah.
And
Makes
there's a
sense?
level of respect as well, because you're just like, I don't want to put my dirty body near you.
We
We were literally talking about this.
Too pure.
Yeah.
Perfect to be tainted.
Have you ever had that?
by the
Yes.
filth?
Oh my god.
Where you can't jack off over someone because they're too good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that explains most of the people that I end up dating, especially brown teeth, because I'm like, I don't deserve white teeth. I'm a dirty little rat.
I don't deserve good dental hygiene.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about this.
Like a minute ago before you walked in.
Yeah. They're like, we were joking about this person that we know that is like so lovely.
Holier than thou.
And it's just like impossible. Like
Ben can't wank
couldn't
over
wank.
them.
It would not be possible.
Well,
He
the kind of
tried.
people that you're like, you don't shit.
Repeatedly.
Like, you don't look like you've taken a shit. And if you do, it's always just a clean, singular log.
Yeah.
It's never...
Coated in Teflon, just plops out, no wiping required.
You've never seen a skid mark before in your life.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I know, like if I haven't been able to. I don't know if I have.
What? Not being able to wank over someone?
Because I think they're too perfect.
No, because it's that thing of like, I don't want to be.
I don't know any guys that
I
are
would
that
be like
pure.
I would be like an oil slick in a crystal lake. Like I couldn't possibly.
You don't want to be the
befoul
oil
that person.
spill that killed all the wildlife.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I would be
Yeah.
in a psychic sense.
Totally.
Just come in and fucking wreck the place.
Just drop a bomb. Just Hiroshima their vagina. You don't want to be that.
That's all so difficult.
Is it more the fear of like you'd be like you get to invest in the reality of the fantasy and you would imagine them just all of a sudden looking at you and going,
Yeah, 100%. I've had that before. Like,
what?
Yeah, I've had
When
that
you
before.
were really young, you said. Like,
Oh, no,
it
I've had it
traumatized you from...
Well, yeah, I mean, I was very self-conscious and had a lot of body shame early on in my life when I was first
Oh, man,
sleeping with
sorry
people and
about
stuff. Well, it just is what it is. There's nothing, it is, who doesn't? But,
Me,
it's something.
I'm beautiful.
I've never had a moment of self-consciousness when I'm naked with a stranger ever.
Hello.
It's a very, I think it's downplayed generally in a lot of the culture how intense it actually is to
To
be
what?
butt naked with a fucking
totally.
not after you've known the person for a long time and you whatever there's love and blah blah blah, but if you're just hooking up with someone and you're suddenly like, an hour later you're fucking butt naked, it's like I think the society just pretends like it's like, yeah, whatever.
Well, that's
just
the
a thing that people
attitude
do.
to sex. Ben and I talk about this all the time where people are just like, it's just fucking. And it's like, yeah, but it's like not just fucking. Like, it's usually pretty full on.
Full on, man.
I mean, sometimes I'm sure it can mean nothing, but for most people, I don't think it is. Being naked with a stranger is pretty full on. Having said that, I'm into spas and shit in Japan when it's just women.
What were you gonna say?
Well, I was going to say, like, most of my teens and early 20s had that attitude. Like, it's just sex. Like, I can just go, I can fuck whoever I want. It's like 21st century woman. I'm a feminist. I just have sex for fun. And then after so many dicks, I was like, oh, I don't enjoy this at all.
Yeah.
Like, crying after sex most times is not how it should
Oh,
be.
yeah.
But, like, yeah, in the moment, I'd be like, I'm doing it. I'm a fit. Look at me just
Free.
hanging out with all these dicks.
I am free.
Field of dicks.
Yeah, just me, just like Maria and the Sound of Music. Instead of grass, it's just dicks.
Making dick angels when you
Yeah.
lie down. Do you think that that's like a? Because I went through a phase, fucking quite late, relatively. Like I didn't have it in my 20s and went through to my early 30s. Like just being a hound for a little while, and I realized in retrospect it wasn't. It was this act of like racking up numbers, but it's more about like tell me I'm good, tell me I'm not a
Yeah.
hideous fucking monster, and I need a lot of people to tell me that, and it's like, but it's ultimately such a fucking empty pursuit, and I thought that I would feel very full and whole and
Yes.
like a man after it was done, and it was just like it was
Nah.
always empty.
Yeah.
Like, is that what it feels like?
100%. And you know what stopped the reign of dicks?
Yeah.
Was when I started
It's rain and dicks.
was when I started as soon as I did my first comedy gig, I was like, oh, I'm busy. I stopped answering messages.
Really?
I stopped going on shitty Tinder dates because I was just like, that hole is filled. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. Just need to
yeah.
find something that made me actually feel important and focus my energy on.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It is so downplayed. And also, like, if the sex is going to be good, then it's inherently going to be intense. And if it's intense, then there's inherently a connection. And if there's a connection, well, then it's not just oh yeah, fucking whatever.
Yeah,
We'll do a little
bodies
bit.
just slapping together.
Yeah, like meat dodgem cars. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Have you ever had that horrible moment midway through casual sex and you just fully realise that you were just two bodies just smashing together?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no.
And the weird logistics of it, like the thing they never show you in porn is the moment like where your fucking neck starts like crinking up. You're like, quick, change. If we don't change positions, I'm gonna get a strain. Or like, oh, this is really uncomfortable. My knees are hurting. It's like just
My knees
and because I'm an old man, and because that's kind of like not in a lot of porn, like so much of the bad effects
humanity.
porn. The humanity isn't there. So I think people. Like, I remember when my first ever partner and girlfriend, everything, like, I would lie there with her in the crook of my arm.
Is this the older lady?
Yeah.
I think
Do you know this story?
Yeah, I listened to the podcast.
Most of them are older.
They've all been older except like
Me
two.
too, man.
Yeah.
Mine are younger.
Yeah, cradle snatcher.
Only one time.
I would lie there for like hours and with her head like resting on my shoulder in like agonizing pain. But would be too afraid to say, hey, like, can you fucking shift your head off my shoulder?
Oh.
Because, you know, like, it's like, well, you know, is that going to offend her? Is that going to end this thing that
And
I
it's
really
intimacy.
like?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like this weird
Yeah.
kind of panicky, but I wonder if that's a thing that a lot of people feel in bed and...
Maybe not with cuddling, but with sex stuff, I'm sure people do things all the time they don't appreciate.
Yeah. And I think with first relationships as well, you're always like, I don't know how I got into this. I don't know how this started.
Crazy.
I don't know what the hell could end it. So you're just all doing all these weird things to try and keep it together because you don't know what you're doing.
Totally. And especially if it's linked back to that stuff we were talking about before, like the self-consciousness and the tell me I'm good stuff. It's
yeah.
like, you know, I don't want to fucking, you know... They're already tolerating me by their good graces. Should I say the wrong thing? Maybe they'll fucking, you know, pull the chute and get the fuck out of here. It's terrible.
It is terrible. It's not the healthiest way to start a relationship. But I think it's how most people do. But
Well, I just don't think this stuff is like, you know, I don't know. It's like sex is either this like full-on pornography thing where it's just like, oh my God, everyone's really fucking amazing at it and they're all super hot and, you know, that chick's taking 10 dicks at once. That's normal.
Yeah, their butthole is one tone. Well done.
Or it's this kind of like, you know, like adolescent kind of shame-filled thing. And there's not really like, I don't hear a lot of discussion about just the kind of meat and potatoes of it.
no, porn is definitely not realistic. I'm sure there's room for it though. You should make meat and potatoes porn.
Meat and potato porn with Ben Ellwood.
That would already exist for sure. Like, that's someone's kink.
Just like
already.
weird lumpy people just having just serviceable
Just having,
intercourse.
like, yeah. My head hurts. Like, can we make it quick? I've got to get up. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
I can't come.
They don't even pause Game of Thrones. They're like, I want to watch the end of the episode. You do all the work. I'll just lie here and take it. And it goes all the way to the end where someone has to awkwardly go and get a towel at the end. That's what I want to see in porn. Is like, how do we get the towel without it being awkward and disgusting?
Just some realistic
Someone
lovemaking.
wiping
That's
you down
all.
like you're a goddamn kitchen bench. Sorry.
See, all this stuff should be covered in sex education for, you know,
Totally.
in high school and stuff.
I
it shouldn't
wish.
just be, you know what I mean? Like, just the kind
Oh,
of
there
like.
is no real sex
No,
education.
there's not.
Wear a condom.
But could you imagine trying to even give like fucking teenagers real sex
No, you can't.
education? They would just laugh in
Yeah.
your face and bully you back into your own virginity. Like that's
There's a one of our friends' partners is a primary school teacher, and part of it with the syllabus was she had to talk about like puberty related issues, not even sex.
Oh, good
and
God.
she said vagina and penis until they stopped laughing. So it was like for an hour. She was
So
like
good.
vagina. Penis, and they were just like, like she couldn't even get past that.
I
good.
couldn't get past that now. I'd still be
I
hysterically
remember
laughing.
playing that game where you'd start quiet and get louder to see who
Oh,
could say
yeah.
penis louder or vagina louder or whatever.
Fucking hilarious.
And thinking it was the funniest thing in the world, like in high school, being like penis, penis, penis. It was so dumb.
They are inherently like the technical terms for genitals are much funnier than the colloquial terms.
Totally.
Vagina is a much funnier word than the
Yeah.
pussy or you know what I mean? Just the fucking
Penis
syntax
is
of
very. It's not an attractive word, is it?
Well, you know.
Penis. It's
Penis.
that real. It's a
Clinical.
yeah.
No, it's like a nasally, like kind of
Penis.
like. Yeah, it's my penis.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God.
My penis is hurting after too much touching.
Yeah, it's not
I
a
love how
powerful.
Jewish your penis is.
Weeping sad tears.
It's not a powerful word, that's for sure.
Fuck.
His
There's
penis.
Yeah, vagina's not particularly. They need to be more powerful words.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Cunt is a powerful word. Like I've known a few women that like
I don't
refer
think
to
cunt
it as their
even means
cunt.
pussy anymore.
Yeah, I
like,
don't
No,
think
no,
it does
not in the
either.
colloquial way. But I've known a couple of women that are like, this is my cunt.
No, but I don't need mine to be
no.
like weapon bound. Like that makes it sound like it's got a
weaponized.
machine gun attached to it. God, ooh, like that
It's got a
sounds
bear
like
trap in
fucking
it.
horrifying. Yeah, yeah, it doesn't need to be weaponized. I mean,
cunt's gonna rip your dick off. And it's like, no.
yeah, I mean, like it's not what it is.
It's like my
I mean, it's not what
lobby. We're
mine
both
is.
going to enter it and it's going to be a good time. No one has fun in a lobby. What am I saying?
It's gonna be clinical.
I just
Lobby.
bombed at a gig and my brain is like, try and be funny. And it's not working.
Do either of you guys have sex ed?
Yes.
Not really.
What?
Catholic school sex ed, not really.
So what? Just
no.
like sex is bad, and unless you're procreating.
No, they were actually good in that they were like wear condoms and these types of things. But,
Really?
but not really.
Catholics are against condoms. The Pope told Africans that condoms cause AIDS. Genocidal maniac.
But yeah, not really.
I mean, but where are the facts? That's what I'm asking.
What was your sex ed?
It was at school. It was pretty average. I actually had when I turned 18, I had a string of chlamydia incidents, and a very kind GP sat me down and gave me like a 20-minute sex ed talk.
Really?
Because he was like, "You're not getting it, honey. Like, let me just lay this out for you." And I
But was
like,
it actually informative? Like, was it shit you didn't know?
Yeah, well, he was like kind of like it was he as well, and he was like a Muslim doctor in like a Christian practice. It was very weird, but he was like he's like what, like he asked me, he's like, why do you keep getting this? Because it was like, and I was like, oh, like he says he doesn't have it, and he's like, well, he's lying to you, so stop having sex with him. And I was like, okay. But then he's like you can say no when you don't want to have sex.
Oh, that's great.
And
yeah.
he's like, if you're not enjoying it, like, you don't have to do it. And I was
Oh,
like, whoa.
that's really good. What a great doctor.
I mean, it took like 3 years for it to sink in, but it was like, it was the start of change, which was like really grateful for.
Yeah, and that's an amazing doctor to actually sit and tell you that. Most,
Yeah.
I don't think would.
They've got to educate, young people about sex. It's like that abstinence only shit just doesn't work. So let's not even bother with that.
Yeah.
But the same way that smart people educate young people about drugs, where it's like, look, you shouldn't do it because it's bad.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do it, which they probably will,
They definitely will.
here's how you fucking
Also,
do it.
sex isn't bad.
No,
sex
exactly.
isn't as dangerous as drugs.
No, but there's a real-
If it's
I think
consensual and
there's
people
still-
understand what it is. People don't understand what it is when you're young.
No, but there's still a real, maybe more for our fucking age group. Because our sex education was like in PE class in year 10, and it was by the substitute teacher, Mr. Powers.
Yeah, but theirs is from like bloody Huges in year 4. I mean, I don't think it's better now.
Huge is.
Or whatever, I don't know.
No, I think sex education in schools is better than. We had literally half a class where he just stood in front of the class going, "Oh yeah, sex is and we were like, "What does an orgasm feel like?" And he's like, pretty nice. Like, it was just awful. It was just this awful mid-90s
Gross.
Northern Beaches sex education that prepared no one for nothing.
Oh, not the Northern Beaches. That's why everyone's getting murdered.
Yeah.
Really?
Podcast.
Yeah, all the podcasts. Everyone's getting murdered in the Northern Beaches.
Really?
Yeah.
The
80s
North
was
Shore
fucked
has a
up.
dark fucking streak to it in Sydney. A lot of cocaine and heroin in the forests areas.
Oh, they got to do something up there, don't they?
It's true, man.
They act like it's all sun and surf, but it's like, is it? Is it really?
Well,
In the
yeah.
Northern Beaches, there was a lot of high school teachers who were like making sweet, sweet love to the students as well.
Oh, I went to school with some of those. I was taught by some of those high school
What?
teachers.
Really?
Who?
Maybe not the ones that made the podcasts, but there was.
Name names.
I don't want to name names.
Name and shame
No, I'm not
them.
naming and shaming because I don't know fucking.
They're not
what-
looking for you on a podcast called
I did
Oink
too.
Time. Come on. Let's be real.
Come on, all my former educators follow my successful comedy career. No. One of our teachers was shacked up with the caretaker who used to be a student at the school, and it was just like common knowledge around the school that they hooked up when she was 15 in his class. But it was just like, it wasn't, I don't recall one person.
Like blinking an eye at it.
I mean, people thought it was funny. Like, it was like, oh, whoa, that's fucking, but it wasn't like, oh, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Or that's really twisted.
I remember that too at my first high school, people being like, oh yeah, she was his ex-student and now they're married.
Yeah, and people just think it's like, I mean, it's so crazy because it's like, it's not that long ago, but it does feel like a completely different time. Like, we had a teacher at our school that was a pedophile, and it was widely known in the school that he was a pedophile. And other teachers would just be like, oh, just don't be in a room alone with him.
Oh my God.
That is
Dude,
so fucked
he
up.
showed up to a fucking student's doorstep on a Saturday afternoon with a bunch of flowers and chocolates to thank her for being the teacher's assistant. But, let's be honest, it wasn't to thank her.
That is so fucked up.
It's
Oh my God. How old was this girl?
we were in year 11, I think. I mean, I'm only
Also barely a girl, mate.
Yeah,
Well,
fucking, needs a good education.
So he's fucking died. Fucking too much estrogen in that chicken, I tell you.
But again, it was one of those things where it was like, we were all just like, oh, that's so fucked up. But no one was like, wait
comical.
a second. Yeah, it was comical. It wasn't disturbing.
It's because you're a kid.
Oh, the amount of high school rumors that I look back on and I'm like, someone is in deep therapy because of that rumor that went around.
100%. Oh, there were like multiple sexual assaults at parties that, like, there was one where it ended up, the incident ended up becoming a funny lyric in our end of year 12 graduation parody song sung to the tune of American Pie.
Sing it now from
No,
start to
I don't want
finish.
to, because again, I don't want to fucking name names, but Jesus Christ, like, you think back on it, it was just like, and that brought the fucking house down.
Yeah.
Everyone, girls, boys, teachers, everyone was laughing about a lyric that was memorializing a sexual assault that had happened at a party a year earlier. And I'm only laughing because it's so fucked up.
Oh my
It's so
God.
twisted, but it was like, that was...
I'm just imagining someone earnestly sitting in a therapist's office.
Totally. And
Telling
then
about this horrible assault.
So the
and then the
whole
entire year
school-
12 class singing about it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
it was unfucking believable. And it's like...
Oh my God.
Like, it wasn't that long ago. I graduated year 12 in 1999. So it was, 20 years ago. Like, I guess it is a
A
long
lot can
time.
change in 20
it's,
years.
It's pretty crazy
That's
when
like
I...
most of my life.
Yeah. I don't,
I keep making that joke on podcasts and people get mad and I need to stop doing it.
because it's just like, it just happens. It's fucked up. Like, I can't believe it. Like, I really can't. It's 20 years. And
20 years is a long time.
But you realize you become that hideous cliche of everyone that's like approaching 40 that's like, wait a second, wait, what how do we get here? Oh, I still remember fucking high school.
I barely
But
remember.
it just starts, like, it's unbelievable. The pace of time is frightening.
Man, the crazy thing about time is that it never stops.
Pretty good, mate.
Whoa.
Is it moving fast for you guys? Is it?
It's moving faster.
racing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The fact that it's halfway through the year is kind of freaky for me.
Does it
Already?
disturb you?
It doesn't disturb me.
I'm excited. Like, I
get excited.
I
about
don't
stuff.
enjoy being in my mid-20s.
Why?
Well, because, like, everyone around me is so much older than me. And it's like, I can just... Because I have, as well, hanging out with comedians as well who are so self-reflexive and like, oh, my early 20s, I was fucking a mess and stuff. And it's like, oh, I know that everything I'm doing at the moment in, minimum 2 years, I'm going to be looking back and being like, what the fuck was that shit, man? And
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
enjoy it anyway, though. Like, all of them in a heartbeat would probably go back to their 20 to be 25 again.
And also, I don't think it changes. I think, like, I thought I had my shit together at 30 and now it's like, oh, you dumb fuck. And I'm sure in 5 more years I'll be like, whoa, you fucking idiot. I don't think that ever stops. And
Oh,
it's
great.
just like,
Thank
Yeah.
you. No.
As soon as you get older, you'll be
you
like,
just get-
Kill myself
No,
now.
but you just get atrophied to the pain of it and you just don't care anymore. You're like, oh, another fucking cycle. Here we go again.
Yeah.
After a while, it's like you're a beach at high tide, a rock at high tide, and the water comes up and you're like, oh, fuck, all right, and deal with it, and then it goes back out, and you kind of get used to the cycles of it all.
Okay. Sweet.
yeah, I mean, you get to know yourself a bit more and what you're willing to put up with and shit. But your 20s are fucking fun.
I hated my 20s.
I had a great time.
hated
Keep
it.
having a great time. It's awesome.
I relate to that, what you said.
Yeah.
I
Like,
loved
when
it.
I didn't want to be there.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm constantly waiting for my real life to begin. As well because, like, I'm very, like, kind of career-focused and, like, not a huge party animal. I'm kind of like, no one trusts me to do anything serious because I'm 25 as well.
No, but what do you mean begin? Because it is beginning. It's now.
That's the thing. It's
yeah,
all a
see,
lie.
don't do that
We're just
stuff
sold
because
a
there is no it begins. You're just doing it now.
Oh, fuck.
But no, we've talked about that a bunch. Like this kind of like weird postmodern state that everyone's in where it's like you narrativize your own life. And it's like, oh, this is the chapter where I am getting ready for the big chapter. And it's like, no. It's just
now.
It's just now. And like
too much pressure then. Oh, my God.
Well, it's just, I don't know. Like
kind of fun.
It used to freak me out a lot because like I had that like real forward thinking thing. But I don't know if it's age or just like, you know, like that just becomes exhausting. But it's getting easier to be in the moment. And it's getting easier to be like, oh, you know what? Today was a really fun day. And tomorrow might be fun and might be shit, but we'll deal with that.
And certain shit gets easier. I'm only realizing now, as in right now, like as in the last few weeks, that I don't have to always give people reasons for shit. I'm always like, and it's
that so freeing?
It is, but I've only realized it now. I'm 35.
What do you mean?
So if in any fucking instance, I'll be like, I'm so sorry I couldn't do that because, and I'm like, only now am I catching myself going, why the fuck am I giving a person, they do not need a reason. Like,
But it depends. Like,
Yeah,
are
it
you
depends.
talking
Of
about,
course it depends.
You fucking ditched out on a friend at the last minute and didn't
I'm
show
talking
up.
the anxiety I would feel from not doing a 5-minute spot
Oh, right.
at that where I am sick as shit, you know, or like I was like, it was kind of comical because I was like, I never get stomach bugs. And then I got the worst stomach bug and I had to bail on like a 5-minute gig at this Friday room that I love. And I wrote to the guy and I was like, I'm so sorry. And I explained it all. And then I saw his friend and I explained it all. And I was like, these guys know me. They've known me for like fucking 6 years. Like I could have just said, I am so sorry. I'm really sick.
Yep.
And trusted that they trusted me.
Yep.
And instead it was just like, I always feel like I owe people a reason or an explanation or like, and now I just fucking, I'm like, if they don't trust me, then they don't trust me and that's it.
Low self-esteem.
Totally.
Well, and is that fear as well of people just being like, oh, she pulled out because she's lazy.
People
or
being
whatever.
angry at you. Yeah. Which is ridiculous. And if they are, then it's like, well, I can't fucking change that.
That's something you realize soon.
You know,
Where
like
it's
me apologizing profusely and explaining every fucking thing I do is not going to make them less of a cunt or more of a kind person. So,
or that thing of like, you know, if they're such a kind of volatile person that this small slight has caused them to, you know, wish a plague on all my houses, then there was probably going to be unstable anyway, and something eventually was going to trigger them.
Exactly. But yeah, it's taken me this fucking long to realize that. And yes, it is incredibly freeing, but it's also like, when I think back to how I was at 25 and the shit I put up with, it's like horrendous. I would love to be at 25 again to just tell a few people where to fucking go. And like,
Oh, you were pretty fucking spicy, mate.
no,
Let's
man, I
let's
had
be
like
fucking real.
no esteem.
No, you had
at
no
all.
And you always look back and you're like, I was such a weak little bitch.
Oh, such a weak little
Always.
bitch. Oh my God.
Really?
Such a
the
weak
pep
little bitch.
talks, I'll be driving around and I'll just start giving my 16-year-old self the biggest pep talk.
Straight
just
up.
out of nowhere. You'll just have a memory and you'll be like, why did you do that?
Totally.
Why did you do that?
That makes complete sense to me. I know I seemed like I had anger issues, but
No,
that's
I know.
not the
I'm
same
being
as being
hyperbolic.
like,
I know.
you know, as letting people treat you like shit.
No, I know. You know, the 16-year-old self doesn't need a fucking pep talk. It just needs a hug. Like, it sounds so lame. It sounds so lame to say, no, but it's fucking true, man. It's fucking true.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that, you know, because I think when, like, I know it's true of myself. I think it's probably true. If it's true of yourself, it's probably true of millions of people. But I think that, you know, that little kid, that self-conscious kid is the driving force behind so much of this shit as an adult.
I don't think people change at all. We just the meat sack changes, but all the internal stuff is like exactly the same.
Yeah.
when you're
Well,
little.
it's interesting seeing kids kind of growing up, and it's like they're different iterations of the same thing.
I think
Totally.
you just become more self-aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I do that?
Oh my
no.
God.
Yeah.
Why do I do that?
But that thing you were saying before, Bec, about you know, like, I think about the things we said to kids that they're probably fucking describing to a therapist right now.
Yeah.
You know, and you know that's true of stuff that I said to kids in school, and true of stuff that was
absolutely.
received to me, where it's like, you know, it still hurts that Emma Cooney in year 7 told me that she wasn't going to go on a date to McDonald's with me because I was too fat and I would ruin her image.
Oh, it's
That happened in 1994. I was like,
The year that Legends were born. Yeah. Oh, God damn it, I gotta stop doing it.
no, that'd have been in 1994. So, and it's like, but that's still like, that's kind of like the, it's not that incident hurts anymore, but that is the catalyst incident for all the other self-consciousness then becomes pathologized as you get older.
Totally.
And then suddenly you're fucking 35 and you're like, is this girl going to laugh at me when I take my clothes off? And it's all just linked back to that.
Totally.
So when I say like that kid needs a hug, that's what I mean. It's
But
just
the
like,
kid
it's
who's
okay, man. Like,
also-
you're all right.
The kid who's saying that shit needs a hug too. Because I know exactly what you mean.
absolutely.
I have an exact point where we were doing a dance class in year 8 and I was like a rake. And I remember one girl very distinctly, like being so insecure about my body, staring at me and going, "Oh my God, you are so flat chested."
No.
And I was like already like a billion years behind, like weaselly little thing, like nothing. And that stayed with me for so fucking long.
Of course.
And so it's like still in there. I remember the girl. I remember where we were when we said it. I remember like all of it. And in retrospect, what I should have been thinking is like, well, I was a dancer, so I could dance and she couldn't. And she was probably uncomfortable because she was wearing a
You don't
sack.
have that knowledge.
No. But that stayed with me for so long where I was like, I look like a boy. And it's like, no, she's just like a chubby chick who's like,
Dude, that's so weird. Fucking when I was in school,
Totally
a chick
stays
saw
with you.
my stretch marks on my waist and started going that stretch marks are a thing that only women get. And it was really weird that a dude had one.
Yeah, that's 'cause
and
she
so
has
for
it.
years, I had this like belief that I had some kind of like hermaphroditic like
Gene
where I was like part woman because I had this like female feature that didn't exist in men. And it was only when I got older I was like, wait a minute. This is skin. It's just
and
flesh.
she's just confused because she probably has it, and her family said to her, like, you get that. And
Of
that's
course.
That's something that's gonna happen
dude,
to
and
you.
then I went and did it to everyone else. I was a hideous bully, just fucking saying the most awful shit
I
to
was
people.
not a bully until
fucking-
I was in my 20s. No, I'm kidding.
Man, I'm having a bizarro moment. I'm working with a bunch of people who are younger than me, and it's a learning curve. But there's one girl in
How old?
particular. Most of them are 18 to 20.
Yeah, like fresh.
Yeah. There's
Fresh out of
one
school.
girl in particular who's very sweet, very nice, but she's 18. She lives at home with her parents. Is like very baby. Like doesn't pay rent. Like just this is her first ever job. And she just, some of the stuff that rolls out of her mouth, I'm like, she has no idea how much that is hurting my feelings.
Oh.
Like, no
Like what?
clue. Oh, like when I told her that I did comedy, she was like, oh, that's so different. Like, most people wouldn't do something like that. And it's just really weird. Like, that's so weird and different. Like that's kind of like, I mean, it's odd. Like, it's odd what you're doing with your life. Like, it's really different. Like, no one I know does that. Like, no one.
You don't know anyone.
None of the four people that you know are
Yeah,
pursuing.
Yeah. And just went on for ages about how weird and odd it was. And I was like, for a second, I was like, I'm going to deck this girl. I'm going to fucking just slap her down.
You don't even know what you don't even know, child.
Yeah. And then she also went on a rant about abortions as well. And I was like, oh, no. You're a virgin. You cannot say anything.
Pro or anti?
Anti-abortion.
That's becoming a big thing these days.
Pretty
right?
easy if you don't have sex. But.
Yeah. It's easy to say when you've never had a dick in you and you've never had the temptation. Like,
That's all right. You can live out your best booty years if you
And
want. That's your choice.
I'd never
that
fucked
cherry
as well.
when you're
I'd be
30.
like, yeah, why is it so hard for you to keep a dick out of you? Like, it's easy not to have a baby. And it's like, then I realized I was the most fertile woman on the planet a few years ago, apparently.
It's way easier to have a baby than not.
Oh, yeah, it's
way easier,
What's that old?
takes a lot more planning to not have a baby
that
than it
old
does
Bill
to have
Hicks
a baby.
bit where he's like, it's not a miracle. It's a chemical reaction. It's no more miracle than meat and food and a turd coming out of my ass. And it's such a base joke, but it's so funny.
Yeah.
The whole
It's
body-
challenging for it to not happen.
Oh, isn't it just terrifying?
Yeah.
And just I mentioned this before, we didn't really go into it, but just the blasé way in which it's done. It's like, oh yeah, I guess I'll create a life.
yeah.
Whoa, man.
I think it's that way, or it's the other way where they're like 40 and they're like, we've got a little bit of time left, and so we're going to do it. Because now that we've done everything else and we're bored. So I think it's like one way or the other. Or there's just some people who are happy and normal and healthy.
Of course,
But
there's
there
all
are
types.
people that you meet where they're like, yeah, we just kind of thought we should.
There is a
I'm like, oh,
big
yeah.
chunk of people where it's like, well, that's just, that's
how
what
it
you
is.
do. And they never actually, I don't think it ever stops to ask the question, wait a sec. And that's what you're quote unquote supposed to do. But do I want to do that? Like, that's a pretty big thing to fucking do. Bring
Yeah.
a fucking human being into existence.
Oh, but most people don't think about most
That's
shit. as they do.
crazy, man.
I think a lot of people don't realize until they have the actual baby. And I think this is what causes a lot of the depression that comes with, postnatal depression as well, is the realization of the gravity of what you've just done.
Yeah. Totally.
And your body
totally.
is drained of hormones, like all the feel-good ones, and you're just...
That's
and you're
very interesting. I've
exhausted.
never heard that said before. I think that's true. Just the existential, like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like all of my time is gone now. Like, this is it. Like... And as well, I think people realizing that it's like truly, it's like you do have agency and you do have choice in your life, and this is what and you've only realized now that you've farted a life out of your pussy that you're like, oh shit. Sorry, that's the worst.
That's the most beautiful way I've ever heard it described.
Kinda cute.
What did you say? Fart a life out
Fart
of
a
your pussy.
life out of your
Wonderful.
pussy.
But I think some
That's how I
people-
say it to myself
Shit.
always.
That's great.
Some people are aware. A friend of ours had a baby, and she was like, I can't do anything except watch Netflix and hang out with him because, she was still feeding him, so he wasn't having a bottle, so she couldn't leave. And I was like, oh my God, are you okay? And she's like, fuck yeah, I don't have anything to do. And this woman is like
it'd be
someone who
great.
was like run off her feet forever. And so that was one of the instances where it was like clearly
Yeah.
she was prepared. I thought it was going to go the
there's
other way.
been, of course, it's there's billions of people. In the
Oh,
world.
I do think
so
there's a
many
lot of
types.
people though who love their lifestyle and think they're going to maintain it and have a child.
Or they think it's going to be like a doll that just complies to their whim, or it'll be a wonderful reflection of the best aspects. And it's like, no, it'll be a reflection of your worst and most hideous aspects.
Yeah, I feel like it's like with whenever I think I said it before on here, but whenever I'm like really cocky about a statement or something in life, I feel like the universe just like chucks it back at me to be like, no. And I think children are just a like lifetime reminder of that. Whenever you're confident and cocky and you're like, this is how it is. And then they're like, no. And then it's just, that's it. It just, they just shit on everything you think you know.
Yeah.
I think that happens a bit too.
I saw the best, one of the strongest memories that's ever stuck with me was I was working a fantastic retail job. So fun.
It is always fun retail.
So right.
I've logged 10 years of retail work. It's not pleasant.
I love being yelled at by middle-aged women. It's just...
Well, you're the avatar for everything that they hate about their lives. Dumping
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah. And I say that to their faces and they love it.
I am what you could have been. Have a great day.
Yeah. But I remember just like walking past and hearing this conversation. This mum is just pushing a trolley like full of food and things to like feed her children with. And this kid just looks up at her mum and goes, hey mum, maybe if you went to the gym you wouldn't be so fat.
Oh, shit.
And I almost died. I was like, don't laugh.
Fabulous little
But
shit.
it's like this woman's just literally like spent her entire day getting supplies to feed and like care for this child, only for them to just pull the rug out from underneath and be like, by the way, thanks for the food and you're a fat bitch. Like,
Yeah, kids don't care at all. They don't care at all. They have like no interest in any. I always talk about my nephew's love affair with my partner. When we saw him on the weekend and he was like, hi, Chris, and like ran to Chris and I was like, hi. And he literally went, oh. And that was it. He was like, look to everyone. And then Chris was like, show Auntie Jen. And he was like, look, He didn't even say Auntie Jen. Look, And I did a bunch of ads recently, and my sister was holding him. I'm on the TV.
This is your fault. You need to cultivate your relationship with this child.
Yeah. She's holding him, and she's like, look who's on the TV. Because there was like a shitty ad. No shit. He pointed to my face and went, Chris! Like, they don't fucking care. Like, if they don't care, they'll tell you they don't care.
But that
this
isn't
is
that-
his
but
way
that's
of
the
being
best
like,
thing about
look,
them.
woman, you're the path to the fun big person,
Yep.
and I don't care right now about you.
Yep.
And they don't lie. They're just like, that's it. You're just not as fun, so that's just what's happening right now.
But that's a better way of communicating, right?
Yeah, it's so direct.
It's
yeah,
at least you know.
honest.
At least you know.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I
he's
mean,
not doing the pleasant, just like, Hi, Jen. How are you? Good to see you.
It's like,
Thank you so much. How is the comedy going? Oh, Chris, you're here too. Fantastic
I know.
to see you.
It's literally just like bypass me, move me out of the way, run to him.
I was reading something recently where it was talking about like interactions, like, and compliments and that kind of stuff, where it's like kind of openly encouraging people not to just blasely kind of go, oh, that was great. Like this happens at gigs a lot where someone will get off stage and they clearly ate shit.
It took me 4 years to realize that was great. I didn't listen to your fucking set.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that when you see someone downstairs who hasn't watched the show.
That was sick.
Everyone who comes downstairs, great set, man. And I'm with them like, you didn't fucking see any of
And it's
that.
like, why say it?
I
It's
don't
like,
know, it's
because when you
weird.
mean it, how do I know you mean it?
I think
You know
it's
what
just
I mean?
they think it's a networking thing. I don't know. I can't
It's
do
like-
it. If I haven't
Stop giving
seen
a
it,
fuck what comedians think. They don't pay tickets to see your show.
Oh yeah, did you have that for a while?
it's
where
a
you were
very
playing to the
valid
back of the room?
point.
I still definitely do care, and
Feels
that's
good,
me.
right?
That's me trying not to care. Be like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. But also, please like me, other comedians. Please think I'm funny.
No, but it's a valid point. You're not selling tickets to comics.
yeah.
No, but there is a
Anything,
But
really.
there is a like a I don't know whatever the illusion of credibility if the comics think you're funny.
Yeah, you feel like you've
it's
done
like,
well.
I'm in the fucking group
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Even if other people don't laugh and the comics do, you're like, oh yeah.
Oh, the people that really know their shit think I'm funny. These peasants that fucking don't know comedy at all.
That
who
have money and
cares?
pay to see
Yeah.
shows.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of the time,
And adore
fuck
you
them.
and think you're amazing and a whole other being, and it's
Yeah.
like what you do is wonderful and everything you say is funny, and they don't need to see anyone else but you, and then you're like, oh, you but whatever, fuck that guy, they're just this is work in marketing or whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Oh, guys, oh my God, this has been so fast. Thank you for having me, guys. You're wonderful.
I use the
Beck, you're
pig every
great.
time, even though people don't like it. It makes me happy.
Well, I just feel like if you can't see the kind of the rubber pig, it just sounds like a really awful. Yeah, it's not a pleasant
Sorry,
sound.
that was actually
Yeah.
me queefing.
Do you have anything to plug? Have you got anything
Yes, your
online?
podcast.
Yes, I have a podcast called The Ladies Guide to Dude Cinema. It's with a very funny co-host Alex J. We watch all the movies that dudes have told us that we have to see.
Sweet. Check it out.
What's one that you've really loved and one that you really hated?
One that we loved was Fight Club.
Oh, cool.
You've never seen Fight Club?
I'd fallen asleep to it.
Yeah, wow.
One that we hated was High Fidelity.
Is that
I've
John
never
Cusack?
seen that.
I've never seen that one.
No need to see it. It's a pile of garbage.
What did you like about Fight Club?
Sexy Edward Norton.
Yeah.
We're not professional film reviewers, but gosh, us ladies, we give it a go.
Thanks, Beck.
Thank you, Bec. Yay.